But something else I was wrong about was the Liver King. And it wasn't so much I was wrong about him. It's not like I was promoting that I thought he was natural. I never did think that, and I never did comment on that. I did specifically say, though, when I came back from Liver King Ranch with my brother, where the Liver King lied to both of us about whether he uses them or not, which is fine because that's what people do. People in this industry, some of them tend to lie, and you guys are well aware of that. But you could see the difference, in the way the Liver King looked back then when we went to film him. Obviously, he looks big and jacked. Looks like he's roided up, but he doesn't look the way he looks now, where maybe he's going through some other things mentally, emotionally, and maybe he's abusing some other types of drugs. Some people are saying meth. They think meth is at play here. And I don't want to speculate on something I don't know anything about, but he clearly looks a lot different. And most recently, he's been talking about attacking Joe Rogan, which I just thought was like absolutely crazy. He's talking about like fighting Joe Rogan. And it's like, I can understand maybe Joe Rogan's not everyone's cup of tea. But I don't recall Joe Rogan, ever, it's just pure bullshit. Like I don't recall Joe Rogan ever saying anything about Liver King that would warrant like him, trying to fight or do whatever he was trying to do to Joe Rogan. I do know that Joe Rogan did say, hey, I think this guy's full of shit. Hey, I think this guy's lying to you. I think that this guy is not truthful. I think he's a charlatan, and all those things ended up becoming, you can judge it for yourself. I'll just leave it in your own hands to figure out whether you think he's a charlatan or not. That way I ain't got to say it, but you can judge it for yourself on your thoughts there. And, Joe Rogan, everybody knows Joe Rogan's prolific fighter, knows how to take care of himself 100%. And so the Liver King doesn't even pose he doesn't pose a threat. However, when you're making threats and kind of rambling on and speaking in code and talking some nonsense that the Liver King was talking, it was just pure bullshit. It's just, there's no other way to look at it. And what I was wrong about with the Liver King is thinking that he is somebody that we can even watch for entertainment. And I think we need to be careful with the way that we consume our entertainment and who it's from. And I think this guy has, he's got some very dangerous tendencies, I believe, from after, seeing some of the things we've seen in the last couple of days. Johnny Bravo put out a video. He's going to put out a video explaining more information. He's told me some stuff in confidence, but I'll let him drop the video and you guys can watch. But he put out a short video. It's about 5 minutes long, and he'll put out a longer one that tells you more about, kind of what's all going on with the Liver King. So, there are times where I talk a lot, right? And I do a lot of videos, and I communicate a lot about people that I put forward that I think are worth a shit. And I think maybe I apologize. I guess I'll just say that flat out. I apologize because regardless of I don't care much about steroids. You guys know my stance on it. I'm not natural. And I started taking performance enhancing drugs when I was 25. And I know a lot of people that lie about it. So to me, when someone lies about steroids, it's never been that big a deal to me. But lying is lying, right? And I understand why other people get upset and offended by it. But I could separate that stuff out. I could separate somebody lying to the public when they're making a video for Instagram about what they're taking and what they utilize versus the person that I hang out with for the time, and the Liver King was a fun person to hang out with. He's got a lot of cool toys. I went to his ranch. We cruised around on his four-wheelers and shit like that, and we had a good time. Got to shoot some guns and shoot some shit that I've never shot before in my life. And we just had a great time. We broke some bread with him. My brother and I had an opportunity to eat with him and his family, his wife, his kids. And yeah, it was awesome. It was a good hang. We got to hang out, and it was just great that we had, a lot of cool shit to do, I guess you'd say. But as you guys know, like his character is just doesn't seem great. And I, at the time, was just more enjoying his like WWE-esque information about his ancestral tenets, which I still think are great. I still think that, eating the foods that he talked about, the proteins and the fats and stuff like that, I still think are very valuable. And I think consuming organs are valuable. That's why before I ever met the Liver King or knew anything about him, I made the first ever protein supplement that also was infused with liver, kidney, heart, spleen, pancreas. These are all things I believed in and known about for a really long time. So if I was wrong about the Liver King, in my, I guess I was communicating to you guys that, like, hey, this is someone I sort of sign off on in terms of his entertainment value and with some of the things he's saying, again, in 100% reference to his ancestral tenets. And just because I, went down and saw the guy down in Houston does not mean I know him. Don't know him very well. I've gotten to know him better, but I've met him one time in person. So that's that. And we're just going to kind of move on to the next. I guess I'll just mention this at the end here, just saying like, yeah, he was threatening Joe Rogan. I thought it was like gross. I thought it was over the top. I don't know why. There was no root cause of it. There was no, like, he kept saying he's fighting for his family, but I don't remember Rogan saying anything about his family. I don't think Joe Rogan's that kind of person. I don't think he does that kind of shit. And I just don't think Joe Rogan gives a fuck in general, because his motor is flying high and he's doing great. And like, why would he worry about, somebody saying a bunch of stupid stuff? However, when they say things that are threatening and there's like weapons in the background and so forth, then I know for myself personally, if someone was doing that to me, I would say, hey, like I don't have a security team, but I would get one and I would communicate to them, or I would call the police and say, hey, I don't know what the law is around here, but like this guy's saying a bunch of crazy shit about me and he wants to like kick my ass and I don't understand what it's about. But before anything happens, maybe go check this out. And I think somebody was alerted, by authorities. I don't think it was, I highly doubt it would be Joe Rogan himself that would do that. Probably someone on his team and or just somebody in the state of Texas who was like, what's this guy talking about? He's going to try to kill this like celebrity or going to try to fight this celebrity is what he kept saying, but who the hell knows? Anyway, I think the Liver King story ends I think it ends worse than what we've already seen so far. And I hope that it doesn't. And I hope he's able to get whatever help, or I hope he's able to get whatever it is that he needs in the next couple weeks, months, and year, so that he can go on to live an extraordinary life with him and his family.